Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. As we all know, it's a new month. We're in the month of November, and I want to welcome you to the month of November. Yeah, so November is the month where we celebrate actually, it's the diabetes awareness month. So I want to take this opportunity to share my knowledge in terms of living with diabetes, because I am type 1 diabetic, and I'd like to share my journey and share my experience with managing this disease for the past 21 years. And I just hope that I'm able to reach out to somebody who's struggling with this disease and to let them know that they are not alone, right? Because a lot of people are dealing with this particular ailment, especially in sub-Saharan Africa. A lot of people don't talk about it back there, but it is very common, especially type 1 diabetes. Basically become very prevalent now. So without much ado, I'd like to jump right into the video and talk about my experiences, talk about a lot of things. So I could start from my diagnosis down to my pregnancies. I've had 2 pregnancies with type 1 diabetes. And if you really find this video very informative, you can hit the like button and also share with your friends and family. And you can also subscribe to my channel for more tips and information regarding my health and lifestyle generally. Okay, I would like to touch on my diagnosis story. I've never really come out to speak about my health, but I feel it's a time where social media have made it possible for you to gain a lot of information, to deal with things that you normally don't hear about, right? So I just want to be part of the people that share the experience. That's basically for someone out there to know that they are not alone. It's not a kind of video that shows me being perfect, because I'm not near perfect when it comes to managing my health. I'm just taking one day at a time, and God has been very faithful to me. I was 12 years old, that was in the year 2000. I was back in Nigeria. Yeah, I was on holidays in my auntie's, and then I suddenly started having strong thirst. I wanted to have more water, more fizzy drinks. I just wanted to incorporate any liquid down my throat, and then I was visiting the toilet more often. I was passing urine excessively. I was losing weight. The rate at which I was losing weight was very fast. I was a little bit chubby as a 12-year-old, but I then lost a lot of weight. I became very, very slim, very thin. I wouldn't even say slim. I was really I was wasting away. Yeah. So my auntie noticed this, and what she did was she had a fair idea of what it might be based on experience. I won't dive into that because that's not for me to discuss. So she did this tablet test for me. She asked me to be in a cup, and then she threw a tablet in there, and it turned orange, and then she was devastated. And you have to see the look on her face. I thought, am I gonna die? Something wrong with me? And then she was like, okay, we need to get back home. And then you know what the funny thing was, at the time, because they had a fair idea of what it was. They were like, this is diabetes and all that. They started giving me beans to eat, saying it was protein. It didn't have carbohydrate at the time. It was a funny thing, yeah. But then that was what they knew. That was the knowledge they had at the time. So I was home. Yeah, I was being fed. If you're Nigerian, moi moi and beans at the time. So eventually I was taken to the hospital, and then unfortunately for me, the hospital I was taken to didn't have any knowledge of how to treat diabetes, right? And I was being hydrated with glucose saline, a glucose drip actually. So it was horrific. And then after a few hours of being pumped with more sugar, and then I went into coma. And then the doctor at the hospital now said they had nothing they could do for me at the time, that my mom needed to take me somewhere else. So it was horrific, honestly. You don't want to experience that. You don't want to be a parent of a 12-year-old experiencing that kind of situation. And then I was taken to a very lovely hospital. I'll never forget the name because they saved my life basically. It's called Lagoon Hospital. And then I was resuscitated, and I was kept in the ICU. And then I came around, and the doctors there, they did a lot of explanations. They did a lot of awareness, sensitizing of how to manage, because it was type 1 diabetes. My family has never dealt with anything like type 1 diabetes at times, so they had to sensitize everybody about how to manage this this new disease. Yeah, I was on insulin at the time. I was on a slow acting and a fast acting insulin. One was Atropid, and the other one was called Lente. So I'll never forget chopping and lente. Those were the 2 insulin that was placed on at the time. I was using tiny plastic syringes to administer the insulin. So I stayed in the hospital for 3 months, and then I went home, and then that was when it dawned on me that this is what I'll be doing forever. It broke my heart. I was in pieces at the time. When you see your friends playing, doing sort of things, traveling, going on holidays and all that, I wanted to go to a boarding house, but because of this, I couldn't go to a boarding house at the time. And the African culture, diseases like that is kept a secret within the family. Nobody knows. So I can't actually do a lot of things because I was really restricted, and my food then, I was also restricted. It was a nightmare. I was always crying. I was a hot mess at the time. It wasn't easy. For a teenager growing up, living that life, you're very restricted. It's difficult on a teenager. Shout out to the parents of diabetic teenagers. You guys are doing a whole lot. Well done. So I have to deal with that at the time. When I go to school, when I want to eat, I go to the toilet, I hide, I take my insulin, I eat. Sometimes I get into hypoglycemia. Hypoglycemia is when your insulin works like extra. How am I going to explain it? Because if you administer insulin, you eat, and it brings your blood sugar, it regularizes your blood sugar, and then you'd have to maintain that that equilibrium. But then if you do not eat again, or you ate little when you first use the medication, you definitely are going to crash. You have hypoglycemia, and if you have hypoglycemia, it's another crisis. It's something that is advised that you shouldn't keep experiencing, because you just black out. Really, sometimes you can go into coma. Some people go into coma from hypoglycemia because you have no glucose in your system and your body starts shutting down, really. So it was a nightmare managing the disease at the time, so we don't talk about it. Nobody knows, except if you're close to me. Maybe my best friend at the time, when I was in high school, secondary school, my best friend at the time knew. That was the only person who knew that I was diabetic. Nobody else knew. So there was a lot of struggle. I experienced some things in life. Some experiences made me realize that I had to take this ailment seriously, because at some point I was just, sometimes I don't use my medication, sometimes I use it, I was just living, so some things happened along the line, and then I realized that I needed to take this thing seriously, because of there's most likely a complication waiting for you at the other end if you do not look after yourself. A lot of things that can happen to you. You could have an ulcer on your leg, that leads to gangrene, and then you can get an amputation. You could have kidney issues, you could have heart issues, you could have eye issues. A lot of complications are associated with being diabetic. So I considered all that and realized that I needed to take control of my life. I needed to take the wheel. So from then on, I think I was about 18, 19 when I realized that I needed to wake up and get it together. But my experience there was horrific. My experience then, because I had to go to hospital, I think every 3 months, and I had to sit with old people, like literally old people, to see the doctor. It was mentally draining for me. I was sad. I was a sad teenager. So I was a very sad teenager. So you go for appointments, you'd have to sit with older people. It was not until I was 20, 21 before the hospital I was in, a public hospital in Lagos, Nigeria, set up a juvenile diabetes center where I had to sit with babies again. I had to sit with really small children. I mentioned about the culture, in Nigeria. I think when you have any kind of disease, it's considered like it's something wrong with the family for somebody to have, such. So it's kept a secret, So I think that makes it worse for anybody. And you can't even be yourself. You cannot talk about what's wrong with you. You cannot. Emotionally, it was draining. Everything it was just like, oh God, this is the life I'm going to live. It was really crazy at the time. So a lot of people still do that till now. I can tell you a lot of people in Nigeria that struggling with this disease, they would not talk about. You would not even catch a wind of it. You would not know. So when they're experiencing some sort of crisis, you'll be wondering what's going on. But there are a lot of struggles associated with diabetes. Like then the expense of being diabetic in Nigeria, God, it's expensive. The medication is expensive, and you would have to, if you want to stay on top of your health, you have to keep checking your blood glucose. And then I had a a glucose machine, so I could check when I became serious, with my blood sugars and all that. I could check my blood sugars like 8 times in a day. That's the minimum for me. I buy test strips like every week. It was an expensive life, but I had to live it. I had to get by. I had to live. I had to hold on to something, So it was a very difficult one for me, but as you can see, I'm fine. I'm here today. I'm discussing it today with my full chest. Diabetes affects your mood. Diabetes affects your thinking. It affects a lot of things, especially when you are facing a hypoglycemic episode. You can be very irrational. You would not know you acted that way simply because your blood sugar was low. And you have diabetic friends, just give them a pass, because sometimes they might be funny to you. They might exhibit some sort of behavior that you do not find attractive at all. So just give them a pass. We are dealing with something very difficult. It's not easy. You don't have any breaks from diabetes. There's no break. You wake up with it, you sleep with it, you eat with it, you do virtually everything, you exercise with it. You have to put it, anything you do, you're going to walk, you're doing anything, you're putting your diabetes has a place that needs to be prepared for it. You need to consider it. I had a very poor relationship with food until I started learning how protein, good fats and all that help with pairing them up with carbs and everything, and how you can help level out your blood sugar and not cause it to have sharp increases and all that. I'm not a nutritionist, so I would not go into that now, but know your kinds of food and know how it affects your blood sugar. And I'm so grateful for social media. I joined a community of diabetic people, and I saw the way they were managing. I was back in Nigeria at the time. I saw the way they were managing their diabetes, and I got a lot of tips on just following them and looking at their activities and what they do and how they manage their diabetes. And a lot of things are not where they're supposed to be now, but at least for the average Nigerian, we should be able to access good healthcare, especially for diseases that are much more prevalent like this. Diabetes, it's way common. It's very common, but people don't really talk about it. I'm not even talking about among adults. I mean the juvenile diabetics, the babies are having diabetes, the young ones are having that. It's common, but people do not see the need, to talk about it, right? So diabetes affects not just the person that has the disease, but also the family, the friends. It's trust me, it's overwhelming, and I wish that our government back in Nigeria can invest a lot of funds in particularly diabetes. It might seem like it's not that thing is common among youth, among children, but people they're not speaking up about it, they're not talking about it, they're not saying anything about it. So I just want to use this opportunity to create a lot of awareness that people should sensitize each other and let them know that diabetes is not something you hide. It's not something something you discuss, let people know, so that when any crisis erupts, somebody can be there for you. There are no indications that they don't write it on your face. You can't see me on the road and say, oh, she's diabetic. You'd never know. The way I even carry myself, you'd not even know that I'm dealing with anything, except I open my mouth and say, oh, this is what it is. That's when you do not know. So let's just create that awareness back home and let people know that you're not alone dealing with this. Any information you'd like to share, you can put it down in my comment section, and if you want me to discuss any other thing in relation to diabetes, I'm open to discuss it. I'm an open book in terms of that, as long as I'm reaching out to somebody and somebody is being pulled out of that struggle, because the struggle never ends, but at least you know that you're not alone dealing with it, right? So that's it for now for me. Please like and share this video with your friends and family, and subsequently I'll post in more videos concerning my control, concerning how I navigate life with diabetes. I'm a student nurse in the UK, so I'm just trying to get into that that space again, where I start exploring different things with regards to YouTube, and then sharing information and all that. But I would like us, people that are out there that are diabetic, stay in control of it, and together we can beat this disease. Scientists are working day in, day out, to help to find a lasting cure for this disease, which is a good thing to know. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye bye.